Hello everyone, my name is Ethan, and today we are playing the rest of What Remains of Edith Finch. And if you want to see the first part, I will link it in the description. But I think this is only going to be a two-parter. I'm not sure, I think this episode will be longer. But yeah, it's brought us back a little bit, so I'm still going to read all this. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two. I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we've believed so much in a family curse, we made it real. That's sad. And there's the old house out in the water. I don't know if I should even be writing this. Also, I guess I should warn now, the majority of this game is about children dying, and in this episode we will definitely see the worst story in terms of how horrifying it is, I guess. All of them are awful, really, and they all, depending on how much you relate to each one, they're all really horrifying, but there's one specifically to do with a child who is less than 1 year old, so, or I think just 1 year old, less than 2 years old, so, just, obviously, trigger warning for that. It's pretty horrifying. It's all implied rather than explicitly shown, but it's also implied in the way that it's very obvious what happened. Maybe it'd be better if all of this just died with me. This game is so beautiful. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of. Now, where am I meant to go? Yeah, I think I meant to go back up here. It is really pretty, though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. Bum, bum, bum. And when you look at the house, at the history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. Damn. It is a crazy house. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting on the house? Damn. It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault. Oh, it shows what animal they were. Christopher the fish. That's awful. Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery. Oh. Molly Finch, born December 11th, 1937, died December 13th, 1947. 3 days days after her 10th birthday. That's awful. Calvin Finch, born April 25th, 1950, died September 23rd, 1961. Sven Finch, born June 17th, 1915, died August 27th, 1964. Edith Finch, born April 8th, 1917, died December 5th, 2010. 2010. Walter Finch, born August 26th, that's amazing. I'll look at it in a second. 1952, died March 31st, 2005. That's so cute. Oh no, that's not cute. I've just realized what that is. That's the tunnel with the train track, the one that looks out at the water. Barbara Finch, born October 31st, 1944, died October 31st, 1960. She died on her birthday. I don't know why. Oh, I did know that. It does say happy birthday in the story. I guess I just didn't register. I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. I swear the rest of the... Oh, there they are. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. Oh. Odin. On the house. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. I do notice that we're not allowed to get to the rest of the graves. I think that... How do I get there? I'll check in a second. Those are all of the graves of the stories we've already seen, but there are more. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night. Oh. That's sad. Can I get to the other graves right now, or is that not a thing until... Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. Oh, it's right here. Because it's not a secret that other people died, but the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Gregory Finch, born January 12th, 1976, died December 19th, 1977. I missed that. Died in 1977, so he was almost 2. Sam Finch, born April 25th, 1950, died July 16th, 1983. Gus Finch, born June 20, 1969, died November 8th, 1982. It's sad they don't even bother saying anything about them because it's just so... They're so desensitized to people dying. Oh no. She lost 2 of her brothers just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. Sanjay Kumar. Who is that? Who's Sanjay? I don't actually know. I don't think. Is that somebody? Sanjay was maybe married to someone. I'm not actually sure. I don't remember that bit. Born September 6th, 1966. Died February 22nd, 2002. Probably in a story that we haven't seen yet. This makes me wildly uncomfortable, which you'll find out soon. Lewis Finch, born December 27th. We almost... Oh my god. See, Lewis Finch is... I've suffered through the same mental illnesses that Lewis has suffered. Suffering, obviously, they don't just go away. So his story hits way too close to home. I've gotten better. I can manage my mental health, but this just seeing what life could have turned out to be if things went worse is horrifying. And also, see, I was born in 2003, not 1988, but I was born December 26th, 2003. I don't like that our birthdays are so close. I don't like it. How old would he have been? Like, that's 2010. 30 maybe. 30, almost 40. Would he? No. Yeah, almost. Fuck, I can't count. No. He would be, I'm just gonna use a calculator, he'd be 20 something, I think. Maybe early 30s. That's, does anyone else always click their clock instead of the calculator? Because it's got numbers on it, so I'm like, it's the same thing. How do I even do this? Oh, he died at 22. He was 22, so I got it really wrong. I missed that. So, 2 years. I'm 20 now. I'm turning 21. That just, I don't know. It just is too close to what almost happened with me. It's like, I don't want to say it like that. It never got as bad as it did for him, but it was still not great. Milton Finch, born May 19th, 1992. We never found Milton's body, so Mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone. That's why there's no death date, even though they never found him. Ew, that's really sad. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. I do like the I guess level design. The way that you can always tell where you're meant to go. The way they block everything, it's very clear where you're meant to go next. But looking back at it now, especially with the text showing you, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant. That's who she's writing all the letters for. Is this where we're going? It might have a ladder on the other side. Nope. How on earth do you expect to get up here? Oh, there's a ladder on this side. I was gonna say there's no way you're getting up there. I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. This is cute. Can you imagine if instead of moving out when you were old enough, they just added a pit onto the house? And they just did that for everyone. It's actually kind of cool, even though it's very impractical and dangerous. They were both pretty intense. Oh my god, is her mom Dawn? Why am I only putting that together now? Yeah, no wonder her mom is so like that. Is Dawn the mother? 'Cause that's... It is. Dawn, I promise you'll never forget this weekend. Yes, sir. These memories are gonna last a lifetime. Am I gonna have to shoot anything? It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shoot. Okay, I missed that. Oh, my eyes. Shouldn't we be leaving? Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off. Not quite. How do I... Ah. What? please just take the damn photo. Of what? Wait, of what? Oh, sorry, Dawn. Didn't notice you there. I will never forget this weekend, Dad. That's the spirit. Golden Finch Park. Okay, got it. I'm gonna take some pictures, okay? Just be careful, that camera's older than you are. Oh, pretty. You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. It's still freezing, though. Definitely should... Oh, I missed that. Hey, that's a keeper. Oh, this is really sad. I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff if you want to survive. I'll be fine, Dad. You know who else thought he was gonna be fine? Some guy who died. Dawn, I'm being serious. I know, Dad, you're always serious. To tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. That's not great. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a good trip. Oh, this is the brother of the one who went off the swing set. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. Dad, good eyes, Dawn. I also want a picture of the bird real quick. Are you gonna shoot it or... Did it not count? It must not have counted. Before you take this shot, let me get a picture of you. Where? Dad, I skipped that dialogue. Let me get behind you. Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn. Oh. Yeah, what a great photo, dude. I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay? Dad, it's twitching. I think it's still... That's totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about it. Imagine having a picture of the exact second your dad fucking died. Yeah, Dawn is the mom, I guess. I never even thought of that. Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me. Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something. That's so sad. Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it. He was in the army. Oh right, he was in the army. The second he turned 18 and then never went back into that room. I remember that. K. Airline ticket. K. Finch. Clear skies and clean living awaits you. Orcas Island. Oh, did she leave? Or she was going to leave and then probably died before she could. That's usually the way this game goes. Oh god, this game is so sad. Meal ready to eat. Okay, that's a strange thing to keep in the... I don't even know what this is, like the crawl space. Oh no, after Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot. Yeah, we're about to see Gregory's death, and it's gonna be horrific, so... It's not even that, it's just really harrowing, so trigger warning, like, like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't. Oh, there we go. Bonk. Bath time's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Wee. Pop. Pop. I wonder what he saw. What his world was like. Whoa. He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw, I'm sure it made him happy. It sure made him happy. Oh, will this video get copyright claimed because of this song? It might do. It's fine. I wouldn't have made much money from it anyway. Whoa. Was I meant to be able to read that? I know how silly it sounds. That I worried about a baby being happy. But I could feel him slipping away. Sorry about that, Gregory. I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night. I forgot about... Oh, hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this. I genuinely did not remember this bit. In my mind, she just forgot about him. I wish he could have told us. Oh, about the world he saw. Okay, there's so much I don't understand. About Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam. Oh my god. That's, I forgot about that bit. She doesn't even have anything to say. Oh yeah, I wouldn't either. It just... I forgot about that bit. In my mind, she got distracted by the call and forgot to unplug the bath. The fact that what I can gather from what we saw, what actually happened was she remembered to turn off the bath. She unplugged it, and I guess maybe it fell back in after the water was drained, and then the baby somehow pulled the handle or something and filled the bathtub again. or something like that, because obviously she did. She got rid of the water, and everyone's telling her. I mean, I wouldn't say it's her fault, even if she had just forgotten. It's very, I'm not sure how to word it right, because it's a traumatic thing, and nobody would blame someone for it happening, but it's very, not neglectful, but you get what I mean. It's very, short-sighted. It's very, it's not good. You shouldn't be so forgetful you don't even think of something like that. But, I mean, it could happen to anyone. But the fact that that's not what happened, she remembered. I mean, I will say she left him alone in the bath quite often, but I guess he was old enough to sit up, and the water was low enough that he shouldn't have drowned, even if he had fallen into, backwards into it or something. And he's probably almost 2, so he would be old enough to roll over if he fell on his face. So I guess in her mind it was safe. And then the worst thing that could possibly happen happened, which is just about how everything in this game works, to be fair. Gus. I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet. A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, and at least not very hard. Before the day, my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. I'm not good at reading poetry. My words just get jumbled up, so forgive me. My father made him come out, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that I remember. When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here, but Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up. What does that say? I don't like having to hit the letters. The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went, but all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid. The nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power, but all my father said to this was make the music louder. Whoops, I wish that... I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day, out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, the foam. But I didn't until we found you. Oh my god, I don't know why that one made me really sad. Holy shit, she never talked about him, but Mom told me once that if I was a boy, they were gonna name me Gus. I think some of the ones where it's somebody writing about what was happening are some, well, they're all that, aren't they? But it's when someone else is writing, it's to someone else talking about it, like the baby and, I don't know, the baby and one of the other ones as well was someone writing to someone else. Oh, it was Sam writing about Calvin. What I want to remember about my brother, all that. None of them have made me as much as that bit, to be honest. I don't know why, it's just how horrifying I wish I could say that I had thought about you on that day. That's awful. Can you imagine that guilt, that all of that's going on, and you didn't even once think about him? Until you went out and found his dead body. That's funny that there's so many repeat cards. Not funny, obviously, but raise flag, breakfast, quiet time, duties, dawn, sweep, trash, Gus, mop, mow, Yared, Greg, be a baby, routine, jump rope, jumping jacks, push-ups, crunches, run to mailbox and back. Oh, he was weird. Oh my god, a rock. That's actually kind of really cool. Not gonna lie, this is pretty cool. My mom moved up to the loft after my brother died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. Yeah, you'd be fucking really out of breath if you were, 22 weeks pregnant? Going up a rock wall, that's kind of insane. That's something. Oh, Sanjay is her boyfriend. She spent the summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Oh, that's your dad. Okay. Fly to India. Oh. 10 ways to teach critical thinking. Places to visit. I doubt you ever went to any of them. That's sad. What was this? A Bible. But like, why? Religion was another thing my mother never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. Whoops. Oh. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Well, at least she got to go to India. Lewis was born a year later. Oh, Lewis. Oh my god, I'm dreading when we get to see that, because I have not played this game in 4 or 5 years. That's probably an exaggeration, but it's been a few years, and I don't know if I'm gonna cry about it or not. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back, and to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good, almost normal. But Lewis rules. Oh god. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. Milton, he's the one that went missing. I was wondering if we had seen him or not yet. I don't actually know that we ever see anything about Milton. To be honest, I don't think we ever learn anything about him. I don't know why I think that. Other than he was an artist, I guess. Oh god, that's cool. I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family. That's cool, the footprints to show you where to stand. The magic paintbrush. Milton Finch in the magic paintbrush. Oh, wait, it's a flip book. A chew. Oh, I think I remember this. I think this one I actually just, whoops, that I just didn't get this one, because... yeah, I think 2003 was when he went missing. I was 4 when Milton disappeared. So who's left? Oh, literally just Edie, Dawn, and Lewis, which means Lewis is next. I did not realize. I think that Lewis is meant to be like a massive part of this, which makes sense now that I'm thinking about it. Like, yeah, of course his story would be a massive part of it. It's her brother who died when she was not that young, I don't think. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the door. So he just went missing. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. It's pretty. Okay. Alright then. See, the way they do this, where you see the way to go next, and then once you're coming back, you see where you have to go after that. That's very well done. Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. Oh. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room, until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Oh no. Oh. Oh my god, you can look through. Oh, that's so cool. Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room, except Lewis. I did not realize you could look through the peepholes. I feel stupid. I could have been doing that the whole time. Sorry. Of course I discovered it on the last peephole you could look through. Whoopsie. I really do like Lewis. He's fun, I think. Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on. Legalize marijuana. Yeah, this is funny. He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him it was a way to be something other than just a Finch. This is a very cool room. Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot. Y'all, I really can't do this. So, there's nothing else in here. Okay, I think this is maybe the last story we get. So here we go. Of course we saved the one that hits too close to home for last. Alright. Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. The substance abuse I can't relate to. That's not a part that I am like. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the canners, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Whoops. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. Go away. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss, but he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewistopia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery, but his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day, he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for sinister serpents. Whoa. Just ran straight into that one. He followed the sound of his electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace, east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. his eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him, even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Oh, Molly, including the wise Calico who had insisted on advising him. His prince waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him. My sincerest condolences, Dr. Emily Newth. My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him. Yeah, the implication there is that he had this thing called maladaptive daydreaming. I don't know if you say you can have it or if you do it. I'm not sure, but I used to do it. I still do it if I get too caught up in anything. I actually realized recently I really thought I didn't do it anymore. And then I paused the YouTube video I was watching, and the only thing, like, I'm constantly, if I'm not doing something, I'm daydreaming, and it completely takes over my life in every way. If I'm not actively doing something, I can't exist, which I think is why I watch so much YouTube and do things all the time. I didn't realize for a very long time that I still did it. But yeah, obviously you're probably thinking, like, daydreams, who cares? It takes over your life. You can't do anything. And as you saw there, it's literally, you're just going through the motions of life, but you're not mentally present ever. You're always somewhere else. You're always off in your own world, but then it can get so bad, which is implied here, that he didn't want to be in this world anymore. He no longer thought Lewis the cannery worker was the real him, and the real world wasn't appealing anymore. And so he killed himself to stay in his imaginary world. And yeah, that's just kind of horrifying. Just kind of horrifying to think about, for someone who else, it can get bad. I hate how silent everything got. On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said, "To our final night together, and all of our final nights apart." Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very specific. Edith, I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now. I'm sorry, you're right. Oh, I'm not leaving. Edith, you're exhausted. Or Edith, you're excused. God damn it. Can't read. During the very important emotional climax. The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it. Oh, this is the room I never got to go into. The first sealed door. I genuinely don't remember the rest of this game. The thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories. My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay? History of the Finches by Edith Finch. Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I mean, you should be able to see the red light, right? I started seeing things. things I'd forgotten had even existed. Oh, damn. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and... Edith, what are you doing? It's mine, Edith. Mom, you're gonna rip it, let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all of this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. Ew. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck, Edith. Edith Finch, February 14th, 1999, January 18th, 2017. Oh my god. This is cute though, having everyone's baby pictures. Man, I don't even know what to say. If you watch this and want to play the game, please do. I get that, like, obviously the story's all been spoiled, but, like, it's something about it. This is my third time playing it, and I think I watched it, like, twice before I bought it, and it still hits hard every time, because there's so many amazing stories in it that you forget about the details of each one. And yeah, it's all really sad, but the entire story is really the most impactful story I've ever read, I guess. And some of the writing in it is so... like, the fact that they can make me tear up from a single line like that. I wish I see Johan's name in the ending credits. Unlockable plural. That's funny. I just got an achievement for seeing Johan's name on the credits. That's really funny. Yeah, it just, man, something about it is just, I wish I could say I thought about you that night. Just the immediate tearing up and feeling sick about it. It's just something so amazing about the idea of each story being told through something written, but also the fact that so many of them are stories or are things that were written from one character to another. So they're literally just full of heart and sorrow and stuff. It's really, really, really great. Which one liked Bugs? I like Bugs. Yeah, it's just really amazing storytelling. Some of the best I've ever seen in any video game, especially, but ever, really. It's just so, it's such a good game. It really is. And the entire story of even Edith, the main character, is really great. It's just also, you know, very harrowing and depressing, but like so good. It's such an amazing story to experience, but even playing it, because you do play out each story. I think you can probably hear that I was like clicking and stuff, but you actually have to do the things. Like with Lewis's story, you have to play the character moving around and in the world, in the fake world, in the daydream, but you also have to do the cannery stuff at the same time. And for like I mean, you could probably definitely tell with the kite one, that was really hard, but it's just so, it's just really an amazing game. Like, play it if you like this in any way, play it, because it is genuinely, oh, Lewis, the end. God, it's just such an amazing game from every way that you look at it. The replay story option is now available. Select Edith to play from the beginning. Oh, I can now play from a story. Okay, that's great. I'll get a screenshot of Lewis's story then. God, that's, I mean, it really is one of my favorite games ever made. It really, really is. I think it was the first time, it was what clued me in to maladaptive daydreaming not being normal. And it just, I mean, all of the stories are absolutely horrifying, but like Walter really hit hard. You know, the being under the thing for ages and then finally deciding to leave. And, you know, being so, it's very agoraphobic, like, hinting towards it, I guess, of I'm sick of living the same day over and over again. I'm sick of being scared. I'm gonna leave. And I don't care if I die in a year, in a month, in a week, even a day, as long as I'm not in this place anymore. And then dying the second you take a step out. Absolutely horrifying. Really, really sad. I do really think they did everything perfectly. Like, even each story, they get, not that they get more impactful, just I think they're in the right order. They're in the perfect order to, you know, I don't even know how to explain why I think they're in the perfect order. I just think starting with Molly and ending with Lewis, in terms of the kids' stories, is great. It really, really is. This game is just so good. I'm gonna stop talking about it now. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in the next one.